I love the youth theological initiative. I love the youth theological initiative.
Now, there's a particular theologian named Walter Wink, which they're going to be reading in Matt's class. This is actually one of the books they're reading, called The Powers That Be. And this theologian, Walter Wink, talks about these systems as the powers that be, the powers or the powers and principalities. And the powers that be, or the PTBs, these are these systems, right? These institutions and structures, and they weave us together in this intricate fabric of power and relationships. And he uses those words. Does anyone know that phrase, powers and principalities? Do you know where that comes from? Ashley. It does come from the Bible. Good. Peter?
The ref's not against flesh and blood, but against rulers and principalities.
Yes? Good job. And it's from Ephesians. Ephesians 6:12. We aren't fighting against human enemies, but against rulers, authorities, forces of cosmic darkness, and spiritual powers of evil in the heavens. This is Paul, right? Letter of Paul to Ephesians. Therefore, pick up the full armor of God so that you can stand your ground on the evil day, and after you have done everything possible to still stand. Now, I want to lift up this. We aren't fighting against human enemies, but against rulers, authorities, forces of cosmic darkness, and spiritual powers of evil. Powers and principalities. And it's picked up in that phrase, powers and principalities, comes in a couple of different places in letters to Paul. But I want to lift that up. You're not my enemy, right? You're not my enemy, Diamond, even though you're gold, right? You're not my enemy, Will, even though you're blue. We're not fighting against humans. We're fighting against this larger system, this powers and principalities, okay? Okay? The powers and principalities are bigger than any one individual, all right? And so what that means is that we can't put all the blame on any particular individual, right? It's not all Diamond's fault because he's at the top of the chain. It's not all Deacon O'Neill's fault, even though he's swimming in money. We can't blame any one person. They were born into the system too, right? We can't blame Jermaine, the cop, even though he was being very mean. He's part of the system as he's not the one who set up the system in the first place. And as Diamond said, it's a stupid system, right? And a lot of us perpetuate it without even realizing it, right? So it's bigger than us. We can't even see that while you're over here trying to get an education, there's someone lying dead over here. You don't even see it. So you don't even know you're part of it, right? So we don't mean to be doing some harm, but it happens on our behalf. At the same time, it is us. We have power, right? We have the ability through our actions and inactions to choose to try to feed the system or boycott the system. And being part of that system forms us and deforms us, right? That's why I really wanted the staff to talk about their roles, because it's very seductive. As soon as you're given power and the ability to sort of abuse it, it gets really seductive and addictive very quickly. It's also, once you start to get too demoralized and frustrated, several of you said, I just want to give up, what was I going to do, right? So it deforms you. You might be born into the system a very good person, but the system can seduce you into doing things that you wouldn't normally do, which is exactly what Tara was saying. So there is good news. One of the things that Walter Wink talks about is the powers and principalities in Colossians. It's all created under God. It is all created through God and for God. And so they were created good. So the point is not that we shouldn't have government. We have to have a government. But the point is that the government systems that we have currently are fallen. They're not perfect, just like we're fallen. That's what structural sin is. We have to have an economy. We have to have some way of figuring out how to trade with each other and to get goods from each other. But maybe the current economic system we have is deformed, is fallen, right? But they can be redeemed because they are created and under the power of God. And so there's sin and grace, right? Structural sin is real. We're a part of it. We contribute to it. But we also have power, and it's also under God's control, and we can redeem it. Okay?
I love the youth theological initiative. I love the youth theological initiative.